Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, another story of a young girl in Scientology that was essayed, then punished, and I'll just let you listen to, I can't think of her name. I forget her name right now.
Touching on part of that because it is a big part of Daisy's story. So please take care when you're watching this video. Pause it, take a breath if you need to, or we will add timestamps so that you can skip around and skip over the parts that you may not be comfortable hearing or watching.
I was treated as the villain in my own childhood trauma, and it was publicized to the point where I was bullied about it for probably a decade, and a lot of public Scientologists wrote KRs about me, making me as a 12-year-old out to be the instigator.
Where have we heard that one before? And I remember the gal's name. I think her name is Celise. Where have we heard this before? Can you imagine that the LAPD is outside these blue buildings trying to protect Scientology when right now children still in Scientology are going through the same things? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that the FBI and all these agencies are not helping these poor innocent children?
Which resulted in my family and I being brought in by the church, being sat down, and my parents were essentially told that they could either send me away to a Scientology school for bad kids, or they could keep me on 24/7 monitoring until a plan could be worked out so that I could reinstate myself into good standing.
Now, do you understand why so many of these children have unalived themselves?
Hey, my name is Shalise Ansola, and this is Colds to Consciousness, where we discuss leaving high-demand religions and organizations and finding healing and independence through awareness and true individual sovereignty. If you're only listening and you want to see our faces, go to my YouTube channel at Colds to Consciousness, where you can join in on the conversation, comment, like, subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And our guest today, I'm so happy she reached out. She is from the Church of Scientology, and we've done a few episodes on this. I wanted her to tell her story because we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty of what happens when you are a child in Scientology, kind of like we did with Danny's episode. So I'm just going to bring her on so we can get right into it. Thank you so much for joining us, Daisy.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Daisy, before we start, what is it that you want everyone to know? What's your overarching message about your story specifically?
I think it's really important that people understand that my story isn't the exception. It's not made up in any way for attention. If anything, when I talk...
Look at that. Her story is not the exception. And as I said, I'm still compiling the list of children that were in Scientology and were essayed. And a lot of them are called the second generations. Maybe some of them are third generation now. And I'm going to be doing a video on this.
Tell my story, I often tend to reduce what's happened to make it more palatable. I think a lot of people who go through what I've been through tend to feel an immense amount of shame that keeps them from wanting to speak out. And when being in a cult and being raised in the environment that I was raised in is all you know, you don't really realize how bad it is until you're out of it. And you...
Exactly. That's why I would like some of the Scientologists that are in to get out. Especially, a lot of you guys were abused, and your stories need to be told of what is going on inside the Scientology buildings and hotels, the schools, etc. That's not normal. And if you'll notice here, she said she had shame. That's because they continually instilled shame in her, writing KRs on her. A little child. A child that was SA'd. So I'm not going to go through the whole video, obviously, because it's over like an hour long. But I would advise you guys to go check out her story, and just another child that was SA'd repeatedly, punished, told not to tell anyone, and then told it was her fault. Okay, if you guys so choose to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it, and like the video. I hope that wherever you are, you have a good day or a good night. Thank you.